All right, everybody. Welcome to Swiss Round 6 of the PeaceBridge 2024 tournament. I'm excited to be commentating this round for the first time with Marcel Lejotte. Did I say that right, Marcel?
That was very close. That will work
That was
with it
very
for
close.
sure.
He just told me
It
right before we got on here, and I still blew it. So, Marcel, it's great to have you.
Thanks. I'm really excited, Joe. We've never really had to being able to commentate a game together, so this is really exciting to be with the commentator himself.
Yeah, it's great. I'm excited to have you. This is a match between Greg Costa. He's running a deck he calls the Hand Jammers. So he's using the hand as his only 8 character with the Star Jammers and Negator, Silver Surfer, Silver Sable in the back. He's going up against John Keffer, Phil, who commentates with me a lot. This is his cousin John. John always brings an interesting deck. So I'm trying to see what he
Absolutely.
has here for
I think
characters.
this is a very similar, if not the exact same deck he did run at the Champ of Champs. The premise of the deck, of course, being Carnage, Beyonder, Old Magneto, and Morph. Really, really unique here, actually, if you look at the deck. Two old three-stat characters. Of course,
Mhm.
a lot of people need to remember when you have two old stat characters, you minus 4 for the first one, or you add 4 for the first one, but you have to actually add 5 for the
The
second
second one.
character. So
Yeah.
he's just in on the point total here.
Also interesting, he's playing the -1 to venture, and he is playing Onslaught Citadel. So we are going to look for some venture tricks there if he's got the opportunity. But I
Mhm.
think one of the interesting things about this deck, right off the bat, when I see it, he's running the KO event, and Beyonder's ability is he can use non-one per decks for the rest of the team, but he can't play the one per decks. Morph has a card called Substitute Death. So if he was to say lose Beyonder or decide to KO Carnage to get the +5 when the KO comes up, he could then play the one per deck and bring that character back. And other than that one per deck, he's probably not going to lose any cards for getting rid of Morph because Beyonder's still going to be able to play them. So kind of an interesting hedge. The Beyonder deck's big thing is that they don't feel KO pressure. And I feel like having that substitute death is even more creating a situation where he can ignore the KO pressure.
Yeah, it's really unique, that sort of strategy. Of course, not always coming off. You really got to get substitute death early in the game. Of course, in this hand, though, we got no discards to start. It looks like Greg has gone one, John has gone two. I mean, he saw that Raza the whole time, so he definitely has something for it. Um, Looks like we're flowing here. I think he's using his CD. Yeah, just like you said, Joe, he's protecting Beyonder at all costs. He doesn't want that to happen until at least either substitute death comes out or something along those lines.
Now, Greg is the great thing about this deck. I played a few games against it, play testing with Greg. He's just, he's got so many big hits. People forget the Star Jammers have that 8 and the hand has the 8. And I think in this version of it, he's running multiple copies of the Star Jammers 8. And I think the idea is the Star Jammers are already coming with some heat, and he's just adding more of those 8s in.
Yeah. I think it works incredibly well too with his Bakudo special, knowing that like at least a good like 60% of the cards coming out of your deck are going to be these attacks, let alone these big any power 8 attacks. You can see
Mhm.
John's attempting one of these strings. Now, for people who can't grasp it, John has what's known as like a string style deck. So he's playing the ally, then he's playing almost all cards through Beyonder here. He's playing a Morph 2, which lets him play 2 additional attacks. I'm assuming the 6, and then he's gonna play the 4 from the back, which will give him another additional attack.
Oh,
I
and
think
he
that's combined.
Oh, wow. So he kind of knows that uh Greg's in a place where he can't block or he would have kept his beast alive, and he had the lineup by placing that on the home base to combine it with an energy card. So, yeah, that's man, what a brutal start.
Wow.
So he plays the Bakudo, he draws a card. I didn't get to see what
Not
it was.
not an attack though, because he did place it in his hand.
It was the Beast,
Oh, it
Stars
might
and
be a
Garters,
discard.
which is a amazing card, but is now a discard because Beast has died. So this has become a really rough hand for Greg. Now, John
This is the
unfortunately does have to use that card in his hand to attack, and that's going
Mhm.
to leave him vulnerable to the 23 points of damage that Greg has on the board plus a card in hand. So even though he's got the kill, we're probably going to see John concede after this fire back.
Yeah, I think you're predicting it very well. Of course, one thing people have to always consider is how many attacks an opponent can throw at you after you play your card. With John, it's unpredictable. He could probably empty his hand numerous times throughout this game. But like you said, when you empty your hand and you killed somebody, now he's in that vulnerable position of three or four cards that the opponent can really just place wherever they want to a certain degree.
So
Great.
John's got 21 venture on the board. Greg's looking at if this hits, which if I'm not wrong, John's just deciding if he's going to concede here or
Mm.
make Greg use another card. But I believe Greg has the venture with the Bakudo 3, 9, 10, 11, 12 plus 16. He's going to get 28.
Yeah, if I were John here, I think I'd at least take one more of those eights to really allow him to go into the next round with 16 points already on the board to nothing from you. He's setting himself up here. He already put two down. He's not going to be, in a super happy position unless he gets a lot of beast cards. However, if we all just remember, he just drew one of those beast cards in the last hand and still ended up winning it.
Yeah. The other thing too is, you may even want to just make him use those two cards. He can't kill Carnage and still win the venture in that situation. If he hits Carnage with both of those eights to kill him, Carnage Inherent would have actually won John the venture. So where John's like not
Oh,
gonna lose more than probably one card. I mean, he looks like it's the one he has in his hand. Or that's not true. I guess he's probably playing three of the maximum carnages, but that can go through
yeah,
Beyonder. So he's probably
correct.
only going to lose the 1/1 per deck. He may have wanted to just clear those two eights out and go for it the next battle and see where the chips fall.
Yeah, and I mean, if he would have done that, you already could see he would have that 11 in play this round too. Um, yeah, John's going to be in a tough spot here. He actually had what I would consider a great first hand for his style of deck, and running those strings out right at Greg's beast. He kind of got everything accomplished he wanted to. The question is now Greg, I think, is going to smarten up and probably hold a good chunk of his power cards, especially anything like six and below, to possibly just defend any of those small attacks. That's the big issue too with John's deck is as much as they're stringing through, they're all just twos and threes and fours. So, like we just said, Greg really had an easy venture victory, even though he might have been like equal cards or
Well,
down a
and the
card.
other thing to think about too is, one of the most important things is serve. Having the
Mhm.
serve at the we say serve, we mean going first. Had John let him throw those two eights, he would have either had to let Carnage live or kill Carnage, and then John would have won the venture. But look what he's sitting on. He has maximum Carnage in hand. He could still throw that through Beyonder. That would allow him to do a four make an additional, a four multi make an additional, a two multi may make two additional attacks, and then just unload his entire hand. He would have been able to do all that against Starjammers who only need one hit to die
Yeah, and
before
there's no
Greg would
way
have even
Greg
got
yeah,
yeah,
no way
before
Greg
he
would have had the defense.
yeah. And that just
Oh,
goes to
you're
show
saying
you like
yeah.
the cadence of that is so important. So he's hoping Greg throws something with a fighting icon.
Oof.
Oh, oh, that's bad timing for that.
Yeah. I'm seeing activators in his hand, but I don't think he has an activator that can stop that. Um, I know his beast was pretty much one of the few activators that could even stop that. It looks like
So
he's
that
thinking
yeah, he's got a Sentinels and an Onslaught. He just
oh,
dumps his hand, which I agree with, and then he's just gonna run. So that is
yeah.
the Grim Reaper. That card is similar to the old Power Leech. It targets a character. If it successfully hits, you name an icon and they discard up to four cards, hand or placed with that icon. So he wasn't able to block it. He dumped the four cards in his hand, and he's just going to see how he does the next hand.
We're in a situation here where he has to realize if that event came out right now for Greg, the game would essentially almost be over. Um, no activators would just be a crushing blow right now, where we'd only have to venture, I believe, 2 for the win. Oh,
And
wow.
there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. You called it, Marcel. All right, so John's got a 2 dupes. He also has a duplicate event, so he's gotta pick which one. I think he's gonna
Mhm.
wanna pick no cards with the word teammate.
Yep. Yeah, it'll cut maybe 1 or 2 cards out of Greg's deck, but I mean, at this point, no, you have to understand, he's got no activators, he's got the draw 3 that is 100% going through. I mean,
But
Greg could
he
have
does at least have a
4
couple of
cards.
dupes, so
Yeah, and of course, his 1 to 9er did just come up, so any 1 to 9s will also not technically be playable as long as he attacks Silver Sable.
the only thing, maybe he made the other one. The only reason he might not have chosen that one is because he does have the Carnage card, and Greg might be in a position to go for the win. The Carnage card avoids any attack on Carnage or teammate with a fighting icon, and then allows a draw that can be a duplicate. You reveal the draw, but it can be a dupe.
And that's his new Marvels card. Or I
Yeah,
mean, MOE card, correct, yes.
MOE. Yeah,
That's a nice card, especially
yeah.
considering it's man teammate.
I've used Carnage a couple of times, and I top aided with it both times, and then actually ran up against John Lewis's JW deck both times and got knocked
Mm.
out. But I had a spawn deck with him that was hitting pretty hard.
Looks like Greg actually, as I saw it there, has 3 to go. So I don't see why he wouldn't take this shot. I don't know if Greg's really contemplating that he the draw 3.
Oh, he
Oh,
had
it's fighting
4,
4.
but he's gonna do
Oh,
it anyway.
I mean, again, with no
That's an
activators.
activator, and then it looks like he drew a dupe 4 multi of the Magneto card.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
So this is
both of those were dupes. So this is gonna be pretty hard for John to pull out against. So he did do the no teamworks. We can tell because we see Greg turning sideways the cards that it's affecting. So those
yeah,
two
no, no.
sideways cards won't be able to be played.
Which is good because at least he can attempt to put some pressure on Starjammers. But I imagine if Greg's in this situation, he might even just pop that draw 3 right off the bat. Nope. Oh, he wants Venture.
I like that play. I think that's a good play.
Mhm.
You know, most
Well, knowing that
likely
yeah,
it's so
knowing
speculative with the no team with the no cards with the word teammate that the eight's probably going to go through since he doesn't have activators, and it's probably going to just guarantee the eight venture.
and I think too, as your earlier mentioned in the game, he's playing multiples of those 8s, so he might just wanna get the 8s off, then draw 3 in the off chance that he's gonna redraw more 8s.
Yeah, that's pretty
Oh,
devastating. So he had the negate to end the string. He draws the Starjammer's 11. It looks like a 7 fighting power card and a 6 energy card. I think it was the 11.
yeah.
No, no, maybe it's the Guardian.
And hey, there's the new BMG promo from, Oklahoma.
Yeah, the 2. We saw a lot of people playing the 2.
Yeah, that I think that was pretty devastating, the fact that he could negate that string to get the Jammers draw 3 off, thus getting both the Jammers cards off.
And he
Just
just
pure
even used the full avoid there on a 4,
yeah.
just knowing that, well, the best he can do is throw the place 6, which isn't for the kill, or throw the kill shot from his hand, which at this point Greg just doesn't even care about. It's only half the venture he has on the board. He's got Bakudo. He's got 2 8s placed. I mean, if I'm Greg in this situation, I probably don't even throw the second 8 unless I can get John to pass.
Mhm. But there he goes and throws it anyways. The great thing
I
too
meant
about
the 8 fighting. Just
oh, the 8 fighting, yeah, yeah.
he can just hit him with the 8. Just flip that card, get rid of the 6. Don't even give him the opportunity to draw.
And the oh,
Oh
wow,
no, he
there
did
you
draw the
go.
11. Okay, so he did have the 11 too, but they
I
had
was gonna
died.
say with Bakudo, even if you let the jammers die, if either of the jammer specials came off the top, he'd still be able to play it with the Bakudo, so I think he was putting himself just in a good place. Again, though, that's the second time I've seen Greg, throw his 8 instead of his 11, when the jammers were close to death,
Well,
so
that one he
curious.
didn't have the 11 yet. He threw the 8 instead of the draw 3 to get the
Mm.
guaranteed
Oh,
venture,
and then
and
drew the
then off
11
the
eventually,
draw 3
yeah.
he drew the 11.
Yeah. So again, John playing a unique deck. I think this shows as much as his string theory works really well. Again, not having that negate character up front and having just access to one, like John had the best hand his deck probably could have started with, and actually had probably one of the best first hands that deck could go with, but it still just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it's interesting. My version of it with, I think anytime you're stringing with specials, you're kind of assuming you're not going to do as many teamworks. Your specials are where you're
Mhm.
getting your speed from. And so I was playing might over mind. John's playing an interesting version of it where he's doing the no cards with the word teammate, which still gets teamworks, right? And then he's also doing um just the any hero one. So he's still doing a little bit of an anti-teamwork thing, but the biggest hurdle with these decks is just the one negate stops all your momentum.
Yeah.
You have to be able to play it in a way where if the negate comes out and stops your momentum, you still can either pick up the momentum or it's not going to be that devastating.
Yeah, most definitely. I think obviously with John trying to get that kill card early in a game, which could then at that point devastate your opponent, you take out another character with a string in that round. Like I could see the speed, but John really is playing almost what I would consider like a forehand deck, and he really needs like the best forehands in almost all situations to really
Yeah,
pull these wins out.
I totally agree. I think in that situation, John needed to just let Craig, because I don't think if you're Greg and you're sitting on an 8 fighting and an 8 any power,
Mhm.
uh I think you go for the kill. I think I'm going to give that venture up to John just to try to get the kill on Carnage, and you hope the KO event comes up and works in your favor. But
Mhm.
I think that could have neutralized the placing advantage. He would have lost a character that probably would have got him one duplicate, and then Greg would have had to wait that much longer to be able to venture for the win.
No, I think you're right. I think after the first 8 was thrown at in this theoretical play, if the first 8's thrown at Carnage, it would have been hard for Greg to say, "I just wanna win the venture and put this 8 on somebody else instead of killing that character." I think you're right. I think he only bet 1 in the first round, and he most definitely would have thrown those 2 eights on Carnage, giving John the victory in that at least that first hand, and like you said, maintaining serve, which in John's deck, I think is almost a necessity.
Yeah, for sure. It's much more important in those string decks than anywhere else. So, all right, guys, that was round 6 of the Swiss. We are recording a little bit out of order, so this you may hear Marcel and I again this tournament. We don't know, but this was actually our first game commentating together, and it was fantastic. I hope I have you on here again with me sometime, Marcel.
Yeah, I always truly appreciate it. I love the game and I love what BMG is doing moving this forward. So anytime you guys need my help, I'm always here for you.
We love it. All right, thanks very much, guys. We'll see you soon,
Take care.
and we're out.